Limbo's over, people, since with the Canadian Grand Prix, we are back to usual F1 of double headers with the week separating them apart. And what better track to get back on track, pun intended, than the circuit Gilles Villeneuve? To me, I always feel like Canada goes very underappreciated. When people think of the best races from a season of F1, you rarely see Canada mentioned despite this Grand Prix hosting bangers seemingly every single year. And when people think of the best tracks on the calendar, Canada is also never brought up in the same tier as other tracks like Silverstone or Interlagos. I generally think Canada is that good, yet most don't seem to think so. I mean, no, we all love this track, but in my opinion, we should love it more. Anyways, knowing that we are almost guaranteed a banger on Sunday, how is the season looking? Kimi Antonelli, the youngest person ever, is leading the standings by 20 points over his teammate George Russell, who is, not taking it the best. Luckily for good old Georgie, Canada is one of his best tracks on the calendar, and if there's a weekend that he will bounce back, it's almost certainly this one. Kimi is no slouch either, though. He loves this track too. I mean, he got his first podium here. That battle between the two Mercs this week, I hope, is gonna be good. As for the other teams, big weekends are ahead of them too. McLaren are loading their car up with upgrades just like Merc, along with Red Bull, who could potentially get into the fight with the top dogs finally. Okay, what about Ferrari though? The second fastest team are the most poised to take on Merc. What do they have in store for us? Keep us in your prayer, guys. It's gonna be rough. So again, be prepared, people, since we have a hell of a weekend ahead of us that I'm sure Sunday Duck will agree with. Let us find the winners and losers from Canada and actually see if the weekend was as good as I made it sound. Subscribe if you hate the French, and let's get to quacking now.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
Recap first up as always, and heading into the weekend, whoo boy, Max Verstappen competed in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring after more than a year to prepare, so how did he do? Well, he did good, but he did not finish thanks to the drive shaft pissing its pants, but this was still a phenomenal achievement by Max that I absolutely hate. I love that Max did this. What I don't love is that his fans finally saw racing that wasn't F1 and have now started to say Max is the messiah. He is embarrassing F1 by racing real cars. He is embarrassing the competition. Bro, why can't we not just watch the racing? Why must everything be compared to and be some gotcha moments and non-existent haters in your head? Let's just watch the racing, please. Anyways, also in the news, Esteban Ocon is being sent to the guillotine. There are rumors that Io Komatsu is unhappy with Ocon so far this season. Gee, I wonder why, and is potentially already looking for replacements to fix the team. Now, I like Ocon, but even I can understand that he is not doing too hot, but a mid-season replacement? That is some BS right there. And apparently Ocon and Komatsu agree with me, since they both came out in interviews on Thursday to say that no such talks have taken place. Well, that's good, but also not really, since Esty Bestie, you gotta step things up, man. You're doing so bad that people think you're gonna get fired before the year ends. Those interviews are not a dub, or at least shouldn't be. Other than that though, nothing else much happened to Canada, so let's get into the weekend now with Friday and its FP1 and sprint qualifying session. Given how this circuit is basically never raced on, driver after driver had a mistake here and there due to the dust, which makes me more confident a sprint here was a smart choice. But aside from Ocon proving the haters right and Albon committing murder, nothing much happened. It's FP1, man. What are you gonna do about it? Merc, of course, looked the fastest with George and Kimi 1-2, and Ferrari surprisingly looked good for what is likely the only session this weekend. McLaren and Red Bull also look fast, so let's hope this weekend is as competitive as it looks so far. Sprint qualifying is, of course, next up on the chopping block, where we can see which Mercedes gets pole. SQ1 will not feature Liam due to his car exploding, Albon due to the exploded groundhog, and me, who is busy exploding into a toilet to remember that there's F1 right now. Sorry. And just my luck, SQ1 was actually fun since he had Aston looking surprisingly good, only for Alonso to Monaco 2014 it, but got the timing wrong by like an hour. And more notably, guys, Ferrari is so back. Lewis is P1, Leclerc is nowhere, but who cares? Lewis is P1, and I live another day. Red flag is off for Alonso's crash, by the way, and when it lifts, everyone darts off the pits to set one last hurrah to get into SQ2, is what we would have said if every man here had like extra 5 seconds. Where have I heard this before? SQ2 did not feature the same coolness, but regardless, Sainz did drop his balls on Hulk, which was nice, but guys, SQ3 is going to be real heat, I promise. Ferrari and Mercedes are neck and neck right now, but considering what happened to Charles Leclerc's neck back in September, I don't really have hope. And guess what? I was right again. Lewis looked fast and right there with George. He easily could have been on the front row at least, but one lockup later, and now my family's preparing my wake. Maybe the sprints can be more messier and screw up Mercedes' weekend so far though. I mean, dusty track, everyone going fast. We could see a Turkey 2020 region here, but who knows? Let us find out by seeing the Saturday sessions with the sprint race and main qualifying.
Okay, copy that. We are checking it.
Lap 1 begins, and you know today's going to be a weird day when the two Mercedes have some of the best starts on the grid. Immediately, everyone is mad at each other since everyone's just tailgating, just itching to pull the trigger when the time comes. Kimi's time came a couple of laps later where he attempted to move around the outside of George, but in typical F1 racing standards, shoved Kimi off the road, who proceeded to crash out a few turns later. Oh, Toto, how you love your heated rivalries. This opens up Lando to attack George's behind, but ultimately stays in his stream instead of attack him, because remember, Lando trying to overtake someone is like me trying to understand quantum physics. Kimi again tries to get ahead of Lando, who I think needs a little break now. Further behind, Pastry says fuck out of my way to Lewis, who then gets swamped by Charles, while the midfield was just violation after violation. Overall, the sprint was actually quite nice and chaotic, but something tells me Sunday's race may be hell on earth with rain. Anyways, main qualifying is next up, which will likely be mostly the same from sprint quali. Q1 featured nothing too disordinary, just your usual two caddies and Aston out, along with Albon and Ocon, who are just having a rough one this week. Q2 saw literally nothing happen other than Hadjar flexing his muscles, while Q3 is looking spicy. Mercedes look good, obviously, but McLaren are there, Hadjar is there, maybe Ferrari too. Oh, who am I kidding? It's Mercedes front row, George and Kimi with Norris third. Even when the first runs look good, we know the ending already. Despite that though, both laps from both Mercedes drivers were crazy fast and precise, and hats off to Lando too, who is seemingly the only guy who could stay with the Mercs right now. So with all that out the way, Sunday race day is next up, and with rain expected, not gonna lie guys, kinda nervous. With 8 laps to go to the end, there is a red flag for Kyle Collette's cars exploding, and with Pato and Rosenquist on the alternative strategy, and people like Malukas and Palau back in play, anyone can win the Indy 500 still. So with 6 laps to go, the race is back underway. Marcus Armstrong from 50 yards back goes into the lead, and uh-oh, another caution is out. Mick Schumacher nearly crashed, but didn't. So with 1 lap to go to the end, a sprint to the end, Armstrong gets swamped by Malukas with Rosenquist side by side. He gets past at turn 3 and heading to the line to the finish past turn 4, Rosenquist gets a stream and he pulls out, and it's a photo finish to the line where by 0.018 of a second, Rosenquist gets the win over David Malukas. The closest finish ever in Indy 500 history, from 3rd to 1st. Wow. Also, it's like lap 5 now in Canada where some shit happened. I don't know. I guess Lindblad died. That sucks. Also, McLaren Raw enters for what I'm going to trust was a good call at first. Antonelli takes a lead from Russell, who quickly sweeps back and rage baits Kimi, and yes, waiter, more heated rivalry. The two unks of Max and Lewis are fighting behind as well, and things seem pretty good so far. Some laps pass, and my word, Kimi and George are not brothers anymore. George puts up a hard defense when he is not locking up, while Kimi is right there, ready to attack, which he finally does. So let's see if he could pull away now. Also, some laps before, Piastri sneezed or something and killed Albon to end his miserable weekend, while at top 2, yeah, they hate each other now, that much is confirmed. But as Master Yoda taught us, hatred consumes us, and on lap something, George's car died, which allows Kimi to now win 4 back-to-back races. Well, for now. I feel so bad for him, man. George has been as flawless as he could be this year, but yet, the results do not show that, and Mercedes continue to fail him. Lando last year made genuine mistakes. George has been relatively clean this year, but yet, God's will says George must suffer. Anyways, Hadjar bullies Leclerc out of boredom, which, speaking of, man, this race got boring quick. It was so heated too, but when Russell left, so did the action seemingly. Even Checo's car knew that too, since it hit its main goal and retired shortly afterwards. Anyways, other than the unks fighting again, the race ended very dull, with Kimi winning 4 on the bounce now, with Lewis and Max 2nd and 3rd respectively. Overall, a hell of a first half of the race, but with McLaren bottling the fuck out of the race and George dying, all competition withered away. Even the midfield was boring since half of them messed up the tires immediately, so yeah, kinda embarrassing F1. but maybe I spoiled myself with the Indy 500 though. Maybe. Now for the winners and losers, and as always, losers first, and I have mandatory Aston Martin, who are now 8 for 8. Now, they are losers since they basically treat all these sessions now as practice still, but they actually are kinda improving. Alonso was competitive with the other back markers, which I know is a stupid sentence, but it is good. The guy was 30 seconds from P20, and now he is 30 seconds behind P17. This is real progress, guys, believe me. Plus, more and more of their terrible, embarrassing issues are getting resolved, which, yes, we could say they are at the bare minimum now, but hey, progress. Unfortunately, though, they're still nowhere near where they need to be, and what doesn't help is that Lance Stroll is still not really doing anything despite this weekend being his home race. Ah well, you can't blame him too much, I guess. Next up is Bottas, who breaks a streak. Cadillac, the team, are not losers this week, which is the first of the year. However, they still show up here in some form thanks to Valtteri Bottas. Is it just me, guys? Or is Valtteri low-key the most forgettable driver this year? Like, whenever we see a Cadillac on screen, it's because Checo is doing something worth watching. Valtteri, meanwhile, is a couple of places behind just driving, which, yeah, it is his job, especially because Caddy are new and all I need is experience, but at least Checo is doing that and more. Valtteri has just been getting swept this year so far, and when many, including myself, had higher expectations, it's really disappointing. Next is Albon, who you just gotta give a hug to. He was all smiles heading into this week since he enjoys a good Canadian Grand Prix. However, one issue is that he is in a Williams car that is more bipolar than a Starbucks barista, and what only worsened this is his murder charge. In FP1, he brutally murdered that groundhog in cold blood in front of his family, is probably what he told himself. We know Alex is an animal lover, and this guilty conscience, I'd imagine, led to a nothing weekend. I just don't have much to say because it was a poor weekend. Simply put, we know Alex is a good driver, so I'm sure Monaco will be better, and if not, then certainly Spain. If Alex survived 2020, he will survive a run of poor performances at Williams right now. Next, I have Ocon, another driver who has had a poor weekend and also needs a hug too. Now, he didn't murder anyone here, but he could be a victim of it since of course there were his rumors this week. Ocon may be dropped mid-season if things don't turn around for him, and despite him and Komatsu denying these rumors, not a single person was surprised hearing them. Ocon has basically been getting his ass handed to him since Spa 2025, and when you consider that Ollie Behrman, the Chicago Grim Reaper, is doing this, it's just not good at all from Ocon, and this weekend was nothing different since again, Ollie beat him. If there is a place Esteban must fight back in, it has to be Monaco since he loves the track. If he doesn't improve, then sound the alarms, people. But if he does improve, still keep your hands on it just in case, because I don't trust the form to continue. Finally, I have McLaren. I had them as winners initially because they had a great weekend, until Sunday at least. They start the race on inters when no one else is on them. Yeah, that's probably not a good sign, guys. So they pit, and now they're in the bottom places, but they can still fight their way back. Nope, Piastri committed terrorism and Lando died. In their nature, McLaren, the team, bottled race day so hard after such a big opportunity with the two Mercedes. Like, what are we doing, guys? I hate you guys, so I should be happy, but I'm not. I'm just disappointed, so things probably could have been better with them in play. I respect a good gamble though, so at least they were different. Much to their detriment. I'm going to make this segment permanent going forwards thanks to Miami. Now for the mid guys from the weekend, and I begin with Audi. Truthfully, this team could be here for a while since with Wheatley gone, Audi will need time before they can have a clear direction forward. Alan McNish is a brilliant guy to lead the team, but his vision for it will not be clear for a while, so until then, Audi will kind of be in limbo for a while. This week was kind of similar to last weekend. Audi are competitive in the midfield, but not enough to where they are scoring points. Had things gone better, sure, they may have been, but on pure car performance, they are lacking what Wheatley gave them. Monaco could be a good opportunity since overtaking at Monaco is like peanut butter and rice, so maybe next weekend is better. Next is Gasly, who kind of stunned me this week for all the wrong reasons. Alpine had such a brilliant weekend in Miami, and you would think Canada would be similar since the upgrades were effective, right? Nope, Alpine in their typical fashion are very bipolar since this week they had more struggles. Gasly especially, who just could not get a lap together race or in qualifying. He did good enough, but still not enough, and depending on how Monaco goes, he could be a loser for the same performance. The only reason I'm giving him leeway this week is because we know he can do better. Perhaps setup was not on for him, plus it's not like he was driving people off too, he was just a bit disappointing. Finally is Ferrari. Man, what is there to say. Ferrari are there, but not there. We are the cucks of F1, man, I swear. Every team can win a championship at this rate, and we would still be second fastest in all of them. We are not even second fastest anymore since McLaren have duped us and are fighting Merc harder than we have ever done. It's just so bleak, man. I don't know how to proceed. I'm so tired of this god. Why must you force me to be a Ferrari fan? What did I do to deserve this? Thank you, Lewis, for being the only man with honor in this team. And Charles, I'm gonna need a miracle from you at Monaco. My life depends on it. Now for the winners, and I have Mercedes. Mercedes were great as expected, more so because the buttload of upgrades they brought this weekend. The only reason why we had something worth watching this week is because both drivers love fighting each other. Normally we would be like, this is boring and terrible to watch, but thankfully, Mark are going back to their roots with George and Kimi. Look, the race ended prematurely for George, which allowed Kimi to run a cool race, but still, you have to respect both drivers regardless. They are driving so good, especially Kimi, and yeah, congratulations, Mark, I guess. Next is Red Bull, who did much better this week compared to Miami. Max was fine in Miami, but did like that little extra oomph to do things, and Hadjar, of course, was taken. So Canada, by all measurements, should have been a similar weekend, but nah. Stick on some upgrades, and Max is there fighting with his Dilf again, and Isak was there bullying Charlie Kirk. Hadjar especially had a much better weekend here, and for now is safe from the demons again. And Max, of course, was great. So yeah, kinda welcome back, Red Bull. Next up is Colapinto, who just mogged Gasly this week. Pierre all last season put belt to ass to Franco, but this year he has had enough. He is now showing us why Williams rushed him through F2, and this is great to see. Franco has such an old-fashioned style of racing that I just love. He just needs the car and confidence to show his worth, and I'm finally glad it's working out. Of course, I don't expect this form to continue, but when he does decline eventually, it will be nothing like the 2025 levels. I think Franco is here to stay now, so let's hope I don't jinx him. Finally is Arvid Lindblad. Arvid had a brilliant race 1, but since then, it's been fine. Nothing too crazy, sometimes a mistake, but nothing too crazy. Well, lucky for him, Arvid had another great weekend finally with a couple of points and great driving. Of course, it was very unfortunate he did not start the race, but I don't think it should discredit his sprint and quality performances. I kinda don't have much to say regarding him since it was just solid, no real complaints. Monaco, of course, will be a big test for Arvid, as it is for every rookie who goes there for the first time, but considering Arvid's Macau performances, I think he'll be just fine. Finally, let's check out my predictions and bingo after this weekend. My sprint predictions were dead on accurate. My qualifying predictions were almost accurate. My race predicts were so wrong, but like, I don't think it's my fault. My random prediction was wrong like always. Your predictions were worse than mine like usual, who would have thought? And finally, my bingo card featured no updates. So those were my winners and losers from Canada. Finally, we just wait 1 week now until Monaco, where I believe we will have 7 races in 10 weeks. If that doesn't hype up F1 again, I fear 2027 is our year. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for the continued support, and make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.